was not really able to do those until I started doing push-ups on a regular basis. And I wasn't doing like 100 push-ups, whatever, I was doing like 10 or 20. And then pull-ups became like actually a breeze, and I would enjoy them because it's satisfying, man. Like to be able to lift your weight like that.
Yeah, means that you can still run away from the cops and climb over the wall. Or the Jews.
Yeah, I enjoy body workout, like body weight workout, because what that does is telling you that if you cannot pull up your own body weight, then there's an issue. So when you focus on your own body workout, you're pushing yourself, you're able to lift yourself as high as possible and you know, as weightless as possible. And then whenever you want to add more tension, that's where you be like, okay, let's add dumbbell, let's do this, let's make it harder you know. But at first, you need to be able to maintain your own body weight and know that, okay, you can jump as high as you want to and consistently do it the way you want to do it. And then you progress on a daily. That's depending on your own consistency. But daily, like even if it's 10 push up on a daily, from there you start increasing the numbers, slowly and surely. But the main thing is for you to do it on a regular basis because the moment you lag, it feels like, man, a day would probably feel like a month, and then a month would probably feel like a year if you fall behind. So that consistency, 20, 50, regularly, you start to look at your body and be like, okay, it's really paying off because it's definitely going to pay off if you're consistent with it. And then with time, when the consistency become a culture, that's when you be like, okay, I need to make it harder for myself. I need to do this. I need to do more research. Okay, I need a trainer. Because the thing is, myself, I started from the 2020 lockdown. I'm like, okay, let me just sweat before I take my shower. That's how I'm like, I started from home workouts because I wanted to know if I really would enjoy working out before I go put myself in the gym. Because I don't want to go and subscribe for a gym and then I get tired and leave my money because those are the things. The moment I pay my money, it becomes an obligation for me. I have to do it. That's why when it comes to free product, I'm not really a fan of free product because I don't feel obligated to push through if it's free. But the moment I know that, okay, my money, I paid for subscription and things like that, I really want to push through. But for a start, because there are a lot of people that I know that they pay for gym subscription, they only probably go once a month or twice a month, things like that. For a start, home workout is a really, really good one. I'm a testimony to home workouts. I just started, push ups, use probably chair to do my triceps, anything you can find. A lot of apps are there also to just guide you for a start, even if it's just toe taps, touch your leg, raise your legs, do a little bit of jumping, whichever, skipping. There's a lot also, jumping, sorry, running at a particular spot, things like that, man. So yeah, the moment you like, okay, I enjoy what I'm doing, okay, then it's time for like a gym subscription or something like that. If you want to go harder or if you want to, you know, context for anything. So that's just how I see it. But home workout is something to just build our culture. Okay, I like the way I'm feeling after my workout. I like the way I feel after sweating and taking a cold shower, things like that. That's how day to day we start building the momentum and then be like, okay, here we are. So yes, it's really not a day's journey, but it's really a journey that when you look back, you'll be like, okay, we've come to a long way, and yes, it's now a lifestyle, because that's the idea. The idea of, okay, you're probably in the restroom and then you're just doing your calf raises because you feel like, okay, you don't like the way your calves are looking. You'd be like, okay, let's do 50 calf raises before we take our shower. Let's do 20 push-ups before we take our shower, things like that. And then from there, you start looking into it more. Okay, what other things? Okay, I'm having lower back pain. How am I going to solve this lower back pain by myself? Because only you know how you're feeling and only you can actually treat yourself if you do not want professional service. So yes, I believe in building that culture, building the habits first of all, and then from there we would start to increase the momentum. That's what I think.
I agree. I mean, that's the only thing that ever worked with me is um, like to what Butchak, what you were saying earlier, right? Say doing half of your limits. Um, that's the only way I was able to start that habit or culture, like you call it there, Blaze, is by starting small and manageable. I tried the fucking gym thing, and then I overdid it at the gym. Right, went like 2 or 3 times, exhausted myself, walked out there, felt like I was going to drop down of a heart attack, and so I never went back. And then I tried this. It was a research project at the time, actually. A guy called Fog or Frog, I can't remember. Tiny Habits. And he said, like, choose like three things you want to start doing. And one of mine was like start exercising on a regular basis. And the rule was like you had to start really small. So if you're going to do exercise, you had to do one push-up a day. You weren't allowed to do any more or less. Um, and probably the most frustrating thing, like in that 10 days, was not able to like do more. Like what the one is easy, and you get into that routine. By the time I was able to get off that kind of leash of only one, I had an exercise routine, dude. I was like walking, I was um, doing push-ups, and it was the first time in my life that I had a regular fitness routine in the morning. Loved it. It was very good for my like pretty much everything. Like my working day was organized in my mind before I got to my desk. I knew who to delegate what to, and like I worked more efficiently. I thought more clearly. But it's to get into that routine or that habit that, for me, is the trickiest part, and the easiest way to address that is to start small and like manageable, and then celebrate your wins. Like celebrate the fact that you remembered or got around to doing the one push-up. Like give yourself a serious pat on the back. It sounds ridiculous, but that little reward does actually motivate you to keep going. I figure if I can do this for 21 days, then I'll have a new routine. I'll have a new habit. No problem. So
Yeah, absolutely. Because now you start questioning what you want to eat. You start thinking about the calories. You start thinking about the protein value and things like that. And then also, it's always for me, man. It's always advisable to check to read the pack of the things we are buying. How what's the sugar content and things like that. Reading leaflets and things like that. Because also the things we eat also is something else. And reasons why I prefer morning workouts is the fact that I want to do it on an empty stomach. It's one of the reasons why I prefer morning workouts. And then evening workout, I think I'll prefer football where I'm running more and things like that. So yes.
yeah, I
Very, very
just
good.
it's been a very good um, rule of thumb is just to avoid any food that has like ingredient lists on it. Like if it's got like fine print on the bag or the box, or if it comes in a bag or a box, it's probably best just avoid it and like stick to the whole foods as far as you can. Avoid fucking seed oils like the plague, and that comes in any like pretty much anything that's boxed or bagged has that poison in it.
Yes, man, because the fact that they really want to preserve it for a very long time says a lot, you know. So other than going to buy those regular juice that they sell at the mall. You can just try and juice your own also, freshly made, because now you know you freshly pressed your juice yourself. You made your juice fresh. Watermelon, even the least watermelon juice, because before I got my juicer, I was using a blender to make my own watermelon, because now I like the fact that the blender would blend both the seed together. So I just like that idea. And then that was what I was using, because I really do like watermelon. So it can be any fruit of yours, because I like the idea of fruit and veggies because of the fact that I know that there's literally no preservative here. If it's bad, if it's old, things like that. So yes, our food also, because when we but see, for a start, we really do not want to start talking about food and things like that. But it's very, very essential also, because our food, the one way, like at the point, like where back in Nigeria, I was feeling bloated from the things that I've been eating, because like, okay, when I was there, I'm like, okay, this is rest time. Okay, I want to eat all the pap, all the swallow and things like that. But it got to a point I started feeling bloated, zero energy to do, zero motivation or energy to do anything that takes a lot of energy and things like that. So that's how we know that our food also play a particular role also, to a point when one might not be able to keep up with just one push-up, because they do not have the zeal to do anything. And there's no other thing we blame such attitude for, other than what we're eating. It can happen to anybody. So just that idea of, okay, what's passing through my mouth, is it healthy or unhealthy? That question is ours alone to answer, because we know where are we buying our food from and things like that. So yeah, energy, the zeal to actually just go down and do the thing and keep ourselves in check is also a very, very vital role. But other than that, man, when you start away from the comfort of our home, we do the necessary workouts that we want to do depending on our body, whichever way. Because let's let's say you want to get to um 20 push-up within the next 6 months or within the next 3 months. It literally just starts with, if you can it, like Glenn said, if you can do one push up consistently, and then you track your progress. Tracking our progress also is also a thing, and then we celebrate the wins too. When we get to 10 push up, you already know that's a short term goal, and then you just congratulate yourself, because it's really not easy to keep yourself in check. So from there we just keep pushing, whichever way, whichever research you want to do, also pertaining to your own body, because what really matters is how you're feeling. How bad, what are you going to do for you to that lower back pain, the upper back pain, to reduce? To me, I feel the best thing is workout. But there were days I have upper, even till now I still have upper back pain. What I do cobra stretch. I stretch a lot. I do a lot of stretching even when I'm in the process of my workout. I do a lot of stretching. After workout, I do the stretching also. And I might be getting this upper and lower back pain as a result of irregular posture, wrong techniques, because I want to work out on my own. I do not want to get professional service. I do not want to do the necessary research for me to be able to indulge in equipment. I jumped into equipment without prior knowledge of what I'm really doing, how my spine, how my back is supposed to be when I'm pushing a machine, or when I'm just doing chest press and things like that. And what you get from that is you start getting wrong technique, wrong posture, and then you start affecting your back. Like your spine will be feeling it. You'll be feeling a lot of load in your lower and upper spine. So to avoid those things is to start slowly. If you're using a dumbbell, you can just start with like 5 dumbbell, and then with that 5 dumbbell, when you go lighter, you do more reps. When you go heavier, you do lower reps, things like that. But the main thing is to make sure that your form and your technique is in check, because you do not want to start having pains, a lot of pains after workout, which is not just sore from the fact that you're just a beginner workout person. you get you when you consistently have those pains, then there's something you're not doing right. So the best way is to go lighter and make sure you're doing it right. But because with that lighter now, what you're doing, you're building strength. You're doing more reps, and then you're doing it right. That's strength conditioning, in my
Can I ask
opinion.
you, Blaze? Have you heard of?
Yes.
I was just dropping off the girls, so I hope you didn't mention this already. But have you heard about some videos I that passed my review lately, especially here on Twitter, where I'm sure I'm using the wrong word. It's lymphic hops. It's basically like people jumping for 20 minutes or something, and make all types of
Mm.
different types of move. Have you does that sound familiar, what I'm trying to ask you about?
Yeah, when you talk about jumping, there are people that, in one way or the other, due to, let's say, their sporting activity or whichever thing that they will really want to build, they focus on jumping. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but there are people that they prioritize their jumping, whichever activity, whichever
Yes,
sporting activities that
they
they're
start
into, they
they start the
prioritize
day
jumping.
they start the day with it. And it's one of those things, where I'm almost always like a little bit. Wait a minute, this is the attention company. I mean the
Yes, yes.
attention.
For me, there are days on my leg workout day.
Okay,
There's what we call spying. I try to spy, try to track how many minutes am I spying, like just jumping, not really jumping, like,
lightly.
but when you're spying, like you're boxing, things like that. I try to
Yeah,
track how many minutes can I go just sparring, like making sure just my leg is moving. Like, normal spar now, you're making sure, okay, how many minutes are you going to be on doing something like that? And then you track it. Okay, how many minutes did I get to before? Like, and when you do those kind of things, you're doing it to failure. You're doing it till you can't even find your breath, and then that's where you want to calm down, catch your
it,
breath, and continue again.
well, it was
So
it
those
was
kind.
funny. It was funny because I tried it with my girls. I don't know, a couple of days ago, when they were off in the morning, and we just started jumping, and of course they absolutely loved it. But what I realized was that in these videos they said, oh, 20 minutes, and then you do while you jump lightly, you do several types of moves for like 100 reps, and every time these small jumps. And I literally, Blaze, I was doing that. And oh man, 20 minutes, like literally 3, 4 minutes. I was just like exhausted. I felt it in my knees. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So that was quite interesting. But I was just wondering if you were aware of that, or if it was just some like attention new video type of thing to get likes and shares.
Yes,
But
man. I use those kind of routines too. Let's say, on a particular day when I'm not really in the mood, but I won't really want to get my workouts in. Those are the things that you get to just get your body intense, like in the mood, because it's actually very fun. You're jumping for a long period of time, and then you're consistently going. You're tired, you still want to push yourself. Those things now get your muscles and or your entire body on check, like in position to get to your workout. Especially on the leg day that I'm not really in the mood to put a lot of pressure squatting with barbells and things like that. Those are the things that I use to set myself in the mood. Because now you know that you're doing something. You know that your legs, your calves, every part of your legs are feeling what you're doing, jumping, spine for a particular period of time. And then when you do that for the first set, you're like, okay, I did 5 minutes, I did 10 minutes. Okay, this other time now, when I rest, this as I go for my second set, I really want to increase it, even if it's by just 1 minute or 1 seconds. It's something. And then you keep that track, like, okay, yesterday I did 5 minutes for like 3 4 sets. Okay, today I want to increase it 10 by 10 minutes for 4 5 sets, things like that. And then with that alone, you will be proud that, okay, yes, I did something at the gym. And that's the thing, when you know that your heart is pumping faster than usual, you know that you're doing something. You're breathing, you're breathing in and you're breathing out intentionally, from your own workout. So those things, every of those things really do count, and it's fun also, especially for beginners too. Just to make them know that, okay, it's not as tedious or it's not as hard as people call workout or things like that. you know So yes, that's a very good one, so it's classifiable. But for me, I use it to set my routine, and I also use it on leg days when I want to touch my calves. Also, instead of just doing calf raises, I do those bars. Also, jump as much as possible, and you time yourself. Because with that time, if you do not time yourself, you're just going to stop anytime your heart, your chest starts feeling awkward or start feeling tired, or you can't catch your breath, things like that. So yes, we
your body's like just taking the hit, and it just, rather than each time like a pull up or like a push up where you have to lift your whole weight up, this way it's helping slightly to start with because it gives the momentum. Have I lost
Black
you?
Black Swan. No, sorry. Morning, Black
It was,
Swan. Go ahead, Barbetta.
yeah, it was called an AB lounge.
I think you got that from Telcel. Come on, be honest.
Yeah. I mean, how much has the chain grown in the past 6 months or so? Is it even that much bigger?
I don't know. Last I heard, it was gonna die right when Core V30 released. Like it was like that was the end of things.
Oh,
So
that was,
I'm
yeah,
still
that's
waiting
right.
for that.
Yeah. Maybe not enough
Uh,
people are running it yet.
I just feel like if this is the same idea as like if you took a dollar bill and someone drew like a funny face on it or a cartoon character or did a stamp on it, it doesn't matter. It's still a dollar bill, and if a place doesn't want to accept it or something like this happens to it, stipulations to it, that's their own fault.
Well, isn't the
I
risk
mean, I
that
look
like
at it as like,
someone uploads child porn and then governments use it, like, well, like governments themselves upload child porn and then fucking use it as an excuse to stop node runners being able to operate? like full nodes.
Well, yeah, that's basically the argument that they resorted to eventually when most people just stopped listening. I think it's a nothing burger.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, that's the
they're
argument.
gonna
But they're
struggle
creating
to
a
get
problem. It's just like any other thing. They create a problem in order to
post
have
their
their own
solution.
solution.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. That's what they're doing. Yep.
I think they're gonna struggle to get any sort of consensus around it, right? It's just too. I think Luke and Mechanic are too divisive, and then the fact that they run Ocean doesn't help, and then no one else seems to really give a fuck, and some people think it's a terrible idea. So it's just, I don't know.
Why isn't Ocean signaling yet? Last I looked, on there's not a single miner that's on board.
Interesting. Matthew Cratter
Well,
seems
they
to
were
be
down. They were
all
down for
over it.
maintenance, weren't they? Weren't they down for maintenance or something like this? They were doing some type of shit recently.
Luke's computer was offline because there was a flood or something.
Yeah, someone tried to steal his private keys that he hadn't open again.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to that stuff and have an open mind. This proposal, I don't know, but we'll see.
The problem is that like it's like the block size war, right? It's like there's both camps thought that they were acting in good faith, and the same's true today. I think like the filterers and the like inscriptors, or maybe not the inscriptors, but like the whole dev crew, like Portland and Reardon Code and like all of those guys, like and the core developers, really the core maintainers are like, hey, this is like filtering is a dumb idea, we don't want to do it, it's got all of these like there's all of these like negative implications and everything else, right? So they're acting in good faith for seemingly for reasons that are like legitimate. They're like, no, we need to allow this stuff because not allowing it is worse, right? The cure is worse than the disease or whatever. And then Mechanic and Luke, I feel, are also acting in good faith, saying, look, this shit, we don't want this shit on Bitcoin. I think most people share that perspective, to be
We
honest.
don't want it on Bitcoin, but also he's going too far the one way of controlling things, where it's like
correct.
he's using the idea that he's an ultra Catholic guy and he's got these really strong morals about things, and it's just like, well, yeah, you can still be religious, but you still got to let the rest of society do what the rest of society does.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't
like the
control
internet,
them.
right? Like the world doesn't work that way. People use things in ways that you don't like it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's like, I feel like, unfortunately, in most instances, when there's like disagreement, legitimate disagreement as well, the status quo, like whatever is the status quo, will just continue.
I reckon what's going to happen, what actually always happens, is I dive into something with an open mind, and I learn a lot, and then at the end, I'm not convinced of anything, but along
You're
the
just
way,
more confused than when you started.
no, not I'm not more confused in the sense that I don't go in to see. This is it. I don't go in with thinking that after that session, I will know if I'm
You'll
for
have
or
a
against.
conclusion. Yeah.
I'm not in there for the conclusion. You see, it's just like I know if I listen to people, like especially like Portland and a few others, that like so many. How do you say that? like like variables around the topic are going to be mentioned, are going to be explained, people are going to be asking questions about it, and that's going to just make me understand the whole picture in a better way.
So much deeper. Yeah.
That's the pattern I'm noticing. Yeah.
Portland is probably the perfect plant, to be honest. If anyone in the ecosystem was like an undercover intelligence operative, it's probably Portland, because it's just, everyone likes Portland. It's like you can't
Yeah, he started off with QR codes. That's so
dislike Portland, right?
That's so unsecure.
He's like the most likable person on Bitcoin Twitter. I don't think, actually, I have heard him be not rude, but like abrupt. I've heard him
I
be
mean,
abrupt once or twice.
If he's a Fed, they ain't paying him enough.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, I hear Masada
They don't really
pretty
pay
well.
people that well, anyways. It's just all about the perks, you know.
I managed to annoy him once, which is kind of like cool, I think, because he didn't know what Natoshi Sakamoto means, and I asked him, and he didn't know, and then yeah, he was a bit annoyed with me because suddenly at that moment everything else was more important. This is yeah, it's funny.
Did you link it? Were you able to find it? Oh yeah, nice, awesome.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, and I actually had to
Yeah.
check if it was actually because I was just awake. It must have been my 2 or 3 p.m. when I woke up. But I checked. Portland is in it also, for what it's worth.
I'll check that one out.
Governance is messy, right? Like I was reading a post by some dude, I can't remember who it was, and he was saying that like he identified in the block size war, it wasn't like the small blockers or the big blockers. Like it was the issue wasn't really corporate takeover from either side or whatever. It was a governance issue with Bitcoin itself and the way that like decisions are made, and more so around like who maintains the code, how it's like
Did you
how.
did you see Francis Bull Bitcoin video?
Yeah, I disagreed with a lot of
Yeah.
that, man. To be honest, I
Oh,
disagreed with the
really? What did
framing.
you disagree with?
Yeah, well, I'd have to like go through it like line by line and tell you.
It's
But
up in
like,
the nest.
there
Yeah.
was a lot of hand wavy nonsense in there. Like the fact that it was a corporate takeover, all of this stuff, right? It's like if you think about who the companies were who were like building on Bitcoin back then, everyone gave a fuck about Bitcoin, man. You didn't. It wasn't like the Wall Street like tech bros and like the ETF and all the rest of the shit that we have today. Like they were like they were the people building early companies on Bitcoin, right? And they were all pro Bitcoin. Everyone wanted Bitcoin to succeed. They just had different opinions about the best way to achieve that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, some wanted to change
it's in the
it, and
same way.
others didn't want to change it. But the ones who wanted to change it were like the money backed entities. No.
Well, I see. I disagree with that framing, but I don't want to get into it because it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not the
That's
point of
not.
this
It's not
space.
the first
This
time
is
I
this
heard
is
it explained like that. I've been hearing people
yeah,
explaining
but
it like that for I can't count on one hand. I think, but okay.
this is like the same problem we have with Bitcoin core devs too, and stuff like this, like Mechanic and Luke and stuff like this. Is like you got to understand they're looking at something from their angle, what they do, they're looking at it from a programmer's angle, what they're doing on their side of it, but they're not looking at it from everybody else's side, and that's the biggest problem across the board. Everybody gets a bias, you know.
Think about it this way, Scarce. So, what I would say about changing Bitcoin, right, is that when Satoshi implemented the block size limit, it was a temporary measure, and it was well understood, broadly understood to be a temporary measure to stop spam attacks, to stop denial of service through like spam attacks, right? And the and Satoshi even wrote on the Bitcoin Talk forums how in the future you would lift the block size. So people could agree on a certain block height, and at that point the nodes would be upgraded to have a larger block size. And so it was always intended to be temporary, and it was intended to
Well,
be lifted in the
so
future.
we can also agree that like Satoshi wasn't infallible, right? I mean, even the initial release, by all accounts, was a mess. I mean, so why are we like doing this? What do you call it? Like to authority, you know? Sorry, that was scarce. Why are you muting us?
Sorry,
Um,
guys.
You can't
like
mute
you know,
Ubuntu. This is his space. Yes.
gone. He's long gone. If he
He
comes
doesn't
back tomorrow
he
and he
doesn't like
says,
he doesn't like Chinese people.
"Who gives a fuck?" Yeah, what Satoshi said. He's gone. He's out of the picture.
Yeah, he was, but he wasn't out of the picture at that point. And a lot of other maintainers like Gavin and what's his name? I can't remember his name. Were supportive, and there was like fairly broad support as well. Like it wasn't either like it wasn't clear that like either had more support than the other. What I would say though is that like given that so at the time when the block size limit was implemented, it was set at 1 megabyte, right? But the transaction volume was never actually hitting 1 megabyte. So if you have a block size limit of 1 megabyte, but the average 10-minute block size is only 400 kilobytes or 600 kilobytes or whatever, you're not actually ever hitting a dynamic where you're reaching the block size and you've got like full blocks. And so, given that
Well, around the time of the
Satoshi's
block size, around the time of the block size war, somebody was spamming the fuck out of the chain.
at the time, yeah, by that time they had gotten full. But when Satoshi implemented the limit, they were never hitting 1 megabyte. So I guess
Were they not with Satoshi
no, they
dice?
weren't. No.
Wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah, that was like
But it
quite
was
a
to
while before.
mitigate that happening, right? Because there was Satoshi Dice was spamming the blockchain with their transactions, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it was full yet. It was to mitigate it happening. I don't know.
It was to mitigate it happening in the future. Basically, what they worked out is that you could because transactions were basically free at the time, is that you could just craft like thousands and thousands of transactions to a point where because there was no block size limit before Satoshi implemented the 1 megabyte block size, there was no limit, and so you could just create like a massive block that basically miners couldn't and nodes couldn't validate within a reasonable enough time. And so they became aware of that before it was ever really abused and implemented the 1 megabyte block size limit, but transactions were never hitting that 1 megabyte at the time. And so what I would say is, given that Satoshi had intended to increase it, as hardware evolves and becomes more capable, as bandwidth gets, more widespread and everything, the more meaningful change, like lifting the block size, yes, that's a change because it had been set to 1 megabyte. But I would say capping it at 1 megabyte, putting in a SegWit extension block, and then enabling a layer 2 network like Lightning, that's a bigger change to Bitcoin than you would have had if you had just increased the block size. So yes, both parties were saying, we want to change Bitcoin, but realistically, the small block change with the extension block and enabling Lightning is a much bigger change to the Bitcoin architecture than just increasing the block size to 2 megabytes or 4 megabytes. It is what it is now, and it doesn't really matter. All this shit's in the past, and here we are today. But to say that the big blockers were trying to change Bitcoin, I think it's disingenuous because the bigger change is really Lightning and SegWit. That's a much broader change than just increasing block size.
Yeah, more than anything, I think it was a struggle over governance, and I think it's the same kind of thing we're seeing now.
Today,
whenever,
yeah. And that's the messy bit that really it's very hard to address, because what do? You have a Bitcoin Foundation and you try and run it like an open source project like Debian, or do you have it's messy, man. But this stuff's messy. And what happens in any developer environment, you can work even in just an enterprise team, right? You can have an app development team, or you can have an infrastructure team, or whatever else, right? The people who are more senior at the top in that little clique of people, their views matter more. And whether they favor one person's efforts or another person's efforts, that's just natural. That's just sociological. That's how humans operate in teams. And so people develop relationships with each other. So when someone over here proposes something and someone over there proposes something else, you inevitably defer to the person that you have a better relationship with, that you've known for longer, that you're familiar with their work and you think they're a good person. And so it's that sort of favoritism and stuff that just happens, and it's how do you can't really address that through code. It's that's just human relationships.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because what is often lacking, to get to the, I guess in this case, to get to the best compromise or the best consensus. What the only thing that leads to that, because of what you just said, human behavior, Black Swan, is communication. I remember, I remember being in the wearable tech space. As some of y'all know, I've been in that space for almost 10 years. um, I gave lectures at universities and spoke with big companies, and I moderated panels, did some keynotes on
In
these
what
fashion
space?
tech,
What is it?
the wearable tech space,
Oh,
wearable
wearable
technology.
technology. Yeah.
So one of the things that um, the wearable tech space, the fashion technology space, was stumbling upon was the minute that you would have to get a team together to get to the best MVP. One of the main problems always was that you had to have coders, right, communicate in the best possible way with fashion designers. So why is this interesting? Because if you would look at the characteristics that make up
It's the same thing
our
today
best
with the
fashion
plebs
designers,
and the core developers and
right,
the
right,
technically, yep.
and what's interesting in that, what the most interesting in that was that is that the pattern was clear. So it wasn't just with one company that that found over years that's where the hardest challenges were. It didn't matter if you were talking about a computer in your ear, or a computer on your wrist, or clothing that could express certain moods that a person could be in, and thus one would be able to communicate through their clothes with their surroundings and
Like
whatnot.
visually, yeah, that's cool.
In the end, it came down to the same thing. You have to have coders and designers talk to each other to get to the best, like, middle road, so to speak. And that was two people, like, or a team of like two different teams speaking completely different language. And I think that to some degree is what we're seeing right now. Um,
Yeah, correct. And then you're talking about literally like a global network, and you've got like all of these constituents, right? Like you've got you still have a huge segment of miners that just like in China and just don't communicate with the rest of the network. Like they're pretty much like a black box of like Chinese miners. And then you've got like the hardware manufacturers as well, again, like mostly a black box of, Chinese manufacturers and Taiwanese manufacturers. And then you have like core developers, which are predominantly in North America. You've got node runners that are all over the fucking world. And then you've got people on the ground using Bitcoin in Africa and El Salvador and, predominantly in like the developing world, who have completely different um, demands from Bitcoin than someone who's just buying fucking BlackRock ETF, right? Like you've got all of these participants now that are just like, it's like trying to coordinate across that diverse group of people is fucking difficult. And to your point earlier, like just from like a tech literacy perspective, right? I support like the big block side of the argument, but it may simply be because I'm too stupid to understand the small block argument. Do you know what I mean? Like I get it at a high level, but I still think, okay, well, it doesn't make sense. I still think that big blocks are the more elegant solution. They have the best security, um, the best security guarantees. All I need to do is spin up a blue wallet. I've got 12 words. I can immediately receive Bitcoin. Like anyone can figure that out. My next, the grandma next door could figure that out. And so I just see all the benefits of that, and I don't think the trade-offs to like the small block lightning, argument are sound, but it may just simply be because I'm not looking at it from the right perspective, or that when people try and explain it, that they can't communicate it eloquently enough to me in a way that I do understand. And so it's like, and I consider myself fairly technically literate, but when you talk to people like
It's
Reid
just
and
not
Coden
important to
and
you.
you talk to all of those other guys, and it's like, fuck, like I can understand half of what those dudes are talking about.
This reminds me of like the story when they ask Linus Torvald about like why he wasn't like more like hands on with Git, and in developing GitHub and stuff like this. But he was just like, well, I only needed GitHub just to to actually help my job to make my code go forward, so I don't have to worry about that thing. He goes, and I gave it over to somebody else. He's just like, he didn't need to
Yeah,
worry
and
about it.
some other guy
Yeah,
manages it and maintains
yeah,
it and knows
yep,
it heaps
exactly,
better than he does. He's
exactly.
like, I just built it to fucking fix my
Yep.
problem, my small little
And,
unique problem.
yep,
I don't
and
care. The
this
whole
is the
world adopted it.
Yep. This is why I'm not so like keen on Luke and some of these other guys too. Is like when you're trying to do too many different things in Bitcoin, you're having too many different companies and too many different views of what you want to control because you think you're like, so your ego's so big and you're so powerful and you're so good at doing this. It creates a problem where, like, I like Linus, where he was just like more like a, hey, I'm really good at kernel. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stick to it. I'm not going to worry about anything else. You know,
Yeah,
that's
but
what
I
you need to
guarantee
do.
I guarantee if you spoke to Luke or Mechanic, and I actually think they're probably acting more selflessly than
Yep.
I think a lot of the a lot of people have ego, right? And I think in my opinion, I think Luke and Mechanic put Bitcoin before themselves, and they are thinking about what's good for Bitcoin, not what's good for Citria or what's good for fucking a certain person's ego or whatever else. They're just thinking long term, what's good for Bitcoin, whether or not that like aligns with what they're doing at Ocean or whatever else. I think they are acting selflessly. Yeah,
Hard to
I
say.
just think
Hard to say.
yeah, it is hard to say. You never know what someone's motivations are. That's the problem.
Did Adam back resign yet? That's the real question today.
Yeah, see, I'm sympathetic to Luke. The other thing is that like Luke is very much an outsider in that crew. Do you know what I mean? He's like had some big contributions to Bitcoin, like Segwit, and but he's an outsider. He's not part of that inner circle, if you know what I mean.
Dude, when I saw him at BitHell, the Helsinki meetup, he was the only guy sitting at this one table, sitting there typing on his phone. Everybody else was like nowhere near him, ignoring him. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I don't think they're doing it for clout, if you know what I mean. I think there's a lot of people in this space that do shit for clout, and if Bitcoin didn't exist, they'd
I don't
as
say it's
happily
for
be
clout.
somewhere else working on something different.
I wouldn't say it's for clout, but it's still in their own purpose. You know, like that's the problem. I think that's it comes from. Like you said, certain things like you may not even like agree with Lightning because you may never want to use it. Just like me, like I don't really care about it because I mean, like I look at Bitcoin as like a savings technology, and it just depends on what your use case for it is. So it's like that's kind of where the focus should be. Everybody's different. You know, and everybody's going to have their own opinion of which way it should be secured or which way it should be, you know, like like implemented and stuff like this, and what type of newer things should happen to it. But I think in the end, it's just like let the you know cards fall where they fall. Don't try to manipulate it or control it or conjure up something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Hey,
If you
speaking of things that did Sapien sell his account? Do you think it looks like he sold his account? Have you seen the stuff that's coming from there lately?
I haven't personally. Why?
I don't know, man. See if you see. I don't know. Let me pin something up there. I reckon he sold.
I hadn't seen him in a while, and
Neither have I.
the last time I saw him was like a couple of months ago, probably like two or maybe 3 months ago, and it had been ages since I'd seen him previously. And he reckons he was just busy doing shit and traveling and stuff. But yeah, interesting.
I mean, his account is woken up. It's very, very active. If you look at his feed now, it's full of slop. But let me find a specific example that made me scratch my head a bit.
It was always slop.
I can't
was good
really argue
slop.
with that.
I liked the slop, but it was always slop.
There we
I mean,
go.
let's be real.
Elon Musk's X just announced it will launch Bitcoin and crypto trading for its 650 million users.
Yeah, see, that's weird. That's not a
That is
Sapiens
fucking,
post.
that is fucking weird, dude. And I had to scroll way back to find that one now. So I don't know. And everything else seems to be generated from probably the history of his timeline.
Maybe it's because the porn industry isn't doing good right now, so he's moving on to better things.
How much do you reckon you'd get for an account of that size? Are they valuable? I guess they would be, right?
I don't know, Scarce, you know something about that, don't you?
Yeah. Let me have a look. Park the car.
He's got like a couple of tens of thousands of followers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I mean, look at that post. It's got what's almost 75,000 views. It's got 1,000 likes.
Crazy.
He gets a lot of bots, so he gets a lot of paid followers. That's what we were like discussing it from once before. He claims no, but it's not true.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that at all.
It was always fun to pop into the spaces though. So I know, kind of hope I'm wrong. Maybe he'll have to buy it back higher. Let's see.
Imagine if he like sold, got funded out of his account and sold, and now he's gonna have to buy it back at higher. Holy shit! I just lost the fucking bombard.
He sold it to buy the dip.
See, that I could get behind.
Yeah, he'll buy it back once he gets a 25x.
If you sell your account though, I think you have to like tell people, right? You can't just fucking sell it to some scammers, crypto scammers, and not warn people.
Is that not like it's been hacked rather than he sold?
Yeah, I mean that's possible.
Yeah, what Sapiens got, man, is the algo loves him. You know,
It does.
if he farts, then he's got like 1 like and 50,000 impressions.
Yeah, he used to tag Elon. I'm pretty sure he's had responses from like Elon and fucking Sailor and stuff on his posts and shit.
Yeah, I think Sailor has retweeted his AI sloppy pictures.
Yeah, it's lucky. Yeah, that helps. But as for selling, I have no idea. I've never sold anything. So
Based.
no, some of them are sitting dormant, and like when I was in the wearable tech space, literally this is fucking blood, sweat, and tears. You know, building these. I guess I can call that communities, followers. But it was a different time. It's so easy. You can change your handle on something. And I remember my brother. My foster brother. he's running a few hospitals in The Hague, in the Netherlands, and at some point he was got like fucking hating all anything to do with corporate and politics, and he wanted to start his own website. He's an what do you call that in Dutch? You say an internist, basically the specialist that's leading the emergency room. No, not room, department in a hospital. And he was kind of like sick of everything and started to we had long talks about how he wanted to pivot and start his own business. And so I gave him an account. You just you can do that. I had an account that was focusing more on digital health. Obviously there's an overlap with wearable technology, and that was a bit of my plan. We could talk hearables, computers you put in your ear, like earbuds, measuring your heart rate and whatnot. That would be a market segment within the wearable technology. So then I would build a community, of people loving content, which we created ourselves. We, wrote articles for Fashion Nerd, which was our own online publication. But I wrote for Wired magazine. I can't even remember. There were a couple of them, but I then because I had that digital health community. It's like eight or 9,000 followers at the time, and I just changed the handle and changed in his company, gave it to him. So yeah, obviously digital health was what he was interested in. So it was hand in glove. I gave a few more to other people that when I thought, hey, this is genuine, this is nice, because they were just sitting there. Then suddenly half of my accounts were canceled. Probably a year before Elon took the seat, and yeah, I didn't even care. I got like probably like 10 left now, and yeah. So
Well, what was the account Dilly bought? Apparently, you can buy like dormant accounts now.
yeah. Oh,
She got like a
dormant
crazy one. Yeah.
accounts. Oh, okay. How would you do that? Like write an email to support or?
No, like apparently there's like a marketplace for them for like
Ah,
premium subscribers or something.
interesting. I never
Yeah.
knew that. So I could sell like a couple accounts there. Is that what you mean?
I don't think you can sell them. I think it's for people trying to claim them.
Oh,
So, like,
okay,
if the account's been sitting there dormant, unused, other people can try and claim them.
okay, but for free.
I think so. I'm not sure. Yeah, you have to ask her. But she got a crazy. Let me see if I can find what her at is.
Mm.
It's Money Printer at Money Printer.
I heard that before. That name. What? That's Dilly. Oh, Dilly. You mean she talked about it? You mean?
Yeah. She was able to get that account. It had basically been sitting there dormant for ages,
Oh,
and she was able to claim it. Yeah.
interesting. Okay. Yeah, man. I think my biggest account is Shadow Band from here to Tokyo. Fuck it. I don't even care. It's yeah. What can I say? Even my account, Sketch Bible, is heavily shadow banned. It's just yeah. Well, I don't care. I always say
Yeah, I think so too.
I wear that shit like a
What
badge.
for?
Mine too. I think a lot of the bigger like the guys who actually they kind of fought against a lot of this stuff and spoken spaces, we all got shadow banned. We're on the list.
I'm sure.
All right, I'm gonna bail, guys. I'll jump on tomorrow. Are you guys hosting frequently again?
CS1, no, we're waiting for TK to come back still. I don't know. Does anyone know when he gets back? Must be soon.
Yeah, he said 2 months now.
Yeah, it's got to be in 5 or 6 weeks already. So sometime soon, hopefully he'll be back at work.
When are you guys going to host tomorrow?
I don't know. I kind of see how I feel in the morning, basically, and what there is to do. Usually, Spirit usually bullies me into doing it these days. So
Nice.
we'll see if Spirit wants to or not.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, cool. All right, I'll jump in and see if you guys are online. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, see you, Black Swan.
Cheers, one.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some work, Glenn.
See you guys.
All right, have a good one, everyone.
We're only not rugged because I'm not near my desk right now. So if you guys want to keep this going, you better get up here and do it. Pub, good morning. I guess Ragnar's at work. We haven't quite made it to lunchtime there. Yeah. Who's that? Goat.
No, yeah. I'm not too sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. How you doing, man? What's your mind?
Good. I'm always thinking about Bitcoin and not so much Bitcoin, but like what Bitcoin was like, what Satoshi and all the people that were putting it all together were trying to do, what they were thinking and feeling. And like, I don't think it was about money for those people. I think it was like a message. It's like half the message. I think Bitcoin's only half the story. Like it doesn't work without like an equivalent governance system in the world. Like, yeah, Bitcoin can do miracles, but with like improper governance. Yeah, it's not. I think maybe these people might not be too pleased with the outcome if they're still around to see it right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no ways even, I'm sure Satoshi never foresaw what mining would look like today, right? And we can only guess at what his thoughts might be. Like it's anyone's best guess where it's going to be in another 10 years and 20 years. But governance is always going to be messy in a decentralized system. There's just no real way around that, I don't think. And as more interested parties come to the table, is just going to, that's going to become more and more difficult, not easier.
Yeah, I think like the decentralization of like local government through to like state government, national government, nation, nationwide. I mean, I'm not a lawman. It all seems like pretty centralized. Like no one's really tackling that. Why are we not?
Well, I mean, I think that was
government
a lot of the original cipher punk intention was basically that, right? I mean, Hal Finney said something along the lines of the computer can be used to control or liberate mankind, and I think that was what drove a lot of the ideology of those early cypherpunks, is they saw an opportunity to separate money from state, and I think that's still the fight that we're fighting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying, and there is a separation there. It's not under control, but like, has anyone like in modern times tried to create like a new government, like system of government for like be it any country in the world or anything? Like, is there anything like popular that like people refer to in books like, oh yeah, this was the last person who had like a half decent idea of a different way of
Well, I mean, everybody that stepped in that direction, trying to go the right direction, pretty much got killed. I mean, look at Gaddafi stepping away from the central banks, and doing the gold thing he was doing with Africa. Saddam tried to do the same thing by selling oil in euros to deal with different currencies to actually stay away from like just one centralized system. And they got him too, just like everybody.
yeah.
Not easy.
I mean, like, and that's kind of like why Bitcoin and Satoshi is the way it is, though, right? Like, if it were like telling your idea before just like doing it, then you could be like potentially a target. And then even if you do it, and then you're a nobody, then you're no target, you know. So I guess there's ideas that have been put out there that are just never going to see the light of day, or sitting under someone's like mattress, so to speak.
Well, you have to look at it this way. I think it has to start from the grassroots. It has to be like small, like communities, like hippie communities, like that idea, of these people that are like, doing organic farming and stuff like this, and doing their own hydroelectric or solar or whatever they're doing to create their own systems that are steps away from the centralized control. And it's got to start from there. It's going to be a really slow trickling thing. It won't go fast.
Like the guy that turns up to go to work on the hydroelectric power plant, like he knows how like his part or role in that machine works and stuff like that. He turns up to earn money, not to, maybe some people do, but like, to keep the machine going, so to speak. Like without that incentive of money, that hydroelectric dam doesn't run, yeah. So like everyone's self-centered, like because they have to be, right? So like you have to create something like that you can like sustain off before, or like that immediately can be sustained off before like a persecutor can like attack after the fact. Is that how like Bitcoin dropped? Like basically it just dropped one day and then that's it. It's too late. No going back. People take it or they leave it.
Well, by all indications, more and more people are coming around to taking it. Like, if you're sleeping on that, then that's down to you, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy. So like, how long does anyone have intimate knowledge on how long Bitcoin was kind of like discussed before it was kind of made official and into a working product?
It's built on decades of work that came before it, right? So on the shoulders of giants. Like Satoshi didn't come up with proof of work, or he basically put the puzzle pieces together that other people had built before him.
Interesting. I haven't really ever had it presented to me or thought about it in like a Dale, like a Carnegie kind of person putting all the different pieces of like intelligence together to create something. I've always kind of thought of that character as the kind of
No,
inspiration.
I mean,
not
he
for-
cites a few people in the white paper itself, so you can go and have a look at, whose work he references there. I think Wei Dai and Adam Back and a whole bunch of the other people whose own work, of course, was also built on the shoulders of other giants that came before them. I mean, there were numerous attempts at digital money before Satoshi struck gold, struck Bitcoin.
like struck as in like, what do you think struck for like Satoshi was to see someone buy and sell a couple of coins? Or like what like
Well, I mean, I think he was an
'cause, like,
engineer, right? He was trying to engineer sound money, and he struck upon basically the formula. All the pieces were there, almost all the pieces were there for him to assemble the best money we've ever seen.
so there's like and that's a popular opinion, like what you just said, like the best money ever
I got
made or
I
seen.
try and form my own opinions. I'm not sure what other people, but that's what I think.
Well, a lot of smart scholar people kind of share that sort of thought, like what you're putting together, and educated.
Well, I mean, that's just the
people with the
the history. It's not something that I'm just fucking pulling out of thin air, right? You can go and research the history of these technologies for yourself. They're well documented. It's not like something I'm pulling out of my butt, and nor is anyone else. It doesn't take a genius to just, go and have a look at where the stuff
I guess the real question is there like a Satoshi? Has anyone tried to like rewrite government, like how governments work? Like Satoshi, has there ever been a like project where people have done like what?
Like there's nothing you can do. You're powerless until you can separate money from states. You have to start there.
Yeah, but that's been done, is like what you've said, yeah, with Bitcoin. Like there's separation of money and state. Like Bitcoin's its own thing.
Well,
it's not controlled by governments.
Which government you live under?
Allegedly.
Certainly the one I do prints money their whim.
Well, I mean, they could have quantum computing and brute force the original Satoshi wallets and then undo the Bitcoin that way.
Yeah.
Or they could just, financially invest through all the governments into Bitcoin and just have like a unit bias over everyone else.
You keep worrying and worrying and worrying. Not do, right? You're welcome to worry about all of those things that have been debunked over and over by more intelligent people than myself over years now, and use that as a justification to stay away from the best performing assets in our lifetimes. That's on you. Again, it's on you. If you don't understand this shit and you're going to believe the FUD that you're fed, buy something else. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best gun at the table.
I'm not in disagreement, actually. I'm just trying to work around if there has been a Satoshi in our time that has tried to rewrite how people govern themselves, like a government system from the self, from the person through to like their household, through to their community,
How?
you know,
How do
upwards.
you do that?
I
When
mean,
the people that have
I mean,
leadership
you can't say it can't be done
have
because someone
control
did, but
over
someone did it with money. You can't say it can't. Nothing can be done because someone called Satoshi created like a
There's
different form of money.
there's been lots of books on open free markets and things like this, which is actually the right step in the right direction. But because like right now we really don't have a free market. No matter what people say, it's still controlled. So we don't really know. That's the thing. Like no one's actually measured these things at scale. So you can't say what's the right way or the wrong way of doing something.
So basically, did Satoshi have to tokenize Bitcoin to make it like interesting to people because it was like about money? Or is there like a deeper kind of meaning to Bitcoin taking away like the money? Is like that? Is there like a multiple levels to that? Like, in anyone else's opinion here, other than just financial gain?
It's not about financial gain.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Like, I just think like, how powerful it is, you know, to be that creator and then just have your like product you created and then just give it all away and like don't even you know use it for like you know worldly possessions and stuff like you know throughout your life and stuff you know you do it like for actual meaning for purpose. I just want to know if there's like a Satoshi like equivalent in like the government world, like someone that's out there trying to like
how
create new
how
forms of
do
government.
you do that when you have the current people ruling over you, able to print for free what you have to work for? How are you going to try anything
Okay, so
new when the people in control
it,
have a privilege over you that they do not want to let go of? How are you going to try anything new if you do not separate money from state? I mean, we're
so
just
how
going to
did
keep back
yeah,
here.
so like Bitcoin, they were probably thinking the same thing with Bitcoin, right? So how did Satoshi do it? They just made a network, right? They made a whole blockchain that like Bitcoin, like blockchain, a way of like communication, machine communication with one another. Then it transmits data, which we interpret as money, to one another, and it just happened before it could be stopped. Right?
Look, let me say one
It's
thing.
the
Like,
same thing with like an
you're
idea.
worried.
If someone had an idea, how would you? If let's say you had an idea in your head, right, and it could change the way that every person wakes up in their day, like how they would go about it, how they take their information of what they should and shouldn't do, and what they can and can't do, and you know the basically the morals and ethics of like what we know in like the laws, which are always evolving, um, to be right and true. I mean, you just take someone's word for it now, and you vote once a year on like your government and stuff like that, because that's just how it is. Like, if is anyone putting other alternatives out there to like governments of the world, like in recent times? Like, is there any challenge or like anything
What are you going to
other
ask?
than like I get what you're saying
Well,
with
like,
Gaddafi and the gold and the kind of stuff.
why are you asking me if other people have tried other governments? Like, there's Grok for that shit. There's ChatGPT for that shit. There's Claude for that shit. I'm not here to do that kind of homework for you. If you're still sleeping on Bitcoin, go and do your own fucking homework, pondering goat. All right. But right now, I feel like you're wasting my time, and I'd much rather rug you all. right? I'm not gonna right now because otherwise I was kind of enjoying the conversation up to a point that I'm getting kind of tired of the bleating over there.
All right, well, let me be more direct then and less words. Bitcoin's great and it's working just fine. It's the other end of like things that are lagging. So how we're going to just sit down and talk about it till the end of time, or someone going to try and put something together? And is anyone working on it? Because if they are, point me in that direction. As I'm looking and I can't find anyone.
Ragnar, how far are you off lunch? I guess you guys are 2 hours behind now, so it's a while yet. Bit Witness, forgot he's here. Gen X definitely fell asleep ages ago. New Era, I don't know, perhaps go to speaking your language.
What about my language?
No, I was just wondering if you were enjoying that conversation there. That Goats was.
It's a naysayer. That's the way I look at it. It's like someone who always tries to pick holes in what the fuck, something is. Like, why are you trying to pick a hole in it? If you know what it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, and that's it. It can't do everything. We also have to take responsibility for ourselves. But I look at like Bitcoin is the path to actually having responsibility for things you do, because you're being responsible for having your private keys. That's the first step.
That like with close arms, we want it to succeed, myself included. I'm talking picking holes in like the government side of things. Like there's no like equivalent in like the real world with like governance, like government. We've done it with money, with Bitcoin. Can someone, or is anyone trying to do like a Satoshi on like the government sort of thing?
No, because governments have to fall first. You can't create something in the way the world's built right now. It's already like it's all controlled in this evil web, you know.
I mean,
Yeah,
but like
or you could do the old-fashioned thing of just trying to figure out what local elections you have, get into politics yourself, and try to change it from within if you're really interested in it.
that would be the most noble way about doing it, but like probably not achievable in a lifetime. Would
Well,
you
not with
say
that
that's
attitude, brother.
yeah? No, like I mean, like like there's definitely like in this world, like attention economy and like populace and popularity all matters. Like you have some idiot talking for everyone, but like if
Bro,
everyone's
I just watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And
Great
remember
movie.
yeah, it's a great movie. And remember the framing of it that people forget is there's an actual election going on. So like maybe just go watch Oh Brother Without There and then figure out how to cheer everybody up and don't be gloomy.
mm, yeah. I don't think AI wants to help anyone with these kind of ideas just as much as government, obviously for self-serving reasons. Like human is like the sucker that is doing all like the toil, and achieving.
All right, pondering goats, whatever your name is here. There are people that I know personally that are doing business while they can. They're doing it also in fiat, but they're also doing things on Bitcoin too. They're taking both in their business, but they're also, these people I know are not paying taxes. They're trying to avoid the system as much as possible and not contribute to the system in any shape, way, or form, and actually cater to people who are actually, sovereign people who are Bitcoiners, and actually build better business relationships with other people. So there is a movement going. It's slow, dude. You can't expect this stuff to change overnight.
I mean, like, I haven't seen anything though. Like I understand like what Hashcash and all like, the things that predate Bitcoin were, but like looking around for like government like alternatives, like everyone creates like crypto projects with like roadmaps or like itineraries and white papers and forecasts and all this kind of shit. The same as like governments are doing, right? But like we're all just kind of like going along with it. Like we're on the money side, people are branching off with Bitcoin, but like they're just staying put with normal forms of governments rather than like putting ideas forward. Like I don't know any.
I know people have gone off grid now too that are Bitcoiners. What are you talking about, dude? Like
Yeah,
they're getting away from centralization.
from the system. That's just like removing yourself from like the system. That's not fixing the
Yeah, but
system.
that's what we have to do first. That's what we're doing. That's what you have to do. You can't fix this system. Okay. It's the same thing. It's like, okay, if you have a nice, beautiful vase, your mom buys this beautiful vase or whatever, and you knock it down because you're a kid and you try to glue it back together, it'll never be the same. That's the same problem we're having right now. That's how relationships are the same way. You can't just, like fuck around in a relationship with a few other women and come back and be like, oh, it's going to be all right after, I apologized. No, it's never the same, dude. It's already broken. That's the system that we're in right now. It's broken. You can't fix it.
Back in 2009, like, do you think when they were doing Bitcoin, they were like, oh, we can't fix it, so let's just put it out there anyway. Fuck it. It's not going to work.
No,
I think they understood that it had to be done in a sly roundabout way, because if you just do it overtly, they will crush you, right? If you can't fucking just print tanks and warplanes out of thin air and you get traction, they will just crush you. So they had to come up with a decentralized, sly roundabout way. And they had a low enough time preference that I think most of them understood this is not going to be like an overnight win, is going to be a long, hard, protected. Like, this is a multi-generational play. The people in charge don't play in like years or decades. They play in centuries. Okay. And so we have to think with that same time, that same time horizon in mind.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, it's like a relationship. I'm saying like we have to discard this relationship we have with this governance system that we have now and start a whole new one. You have to build a whole new relationship in the sense that Bitcoin is a tool that allows us to build that new relationship.
I mean, I'm all for Bitcoin. Like, all this other shit in the world is like you say, unconquerable. Government's already won, got us pinned down. Everything's shit. Blah, blah, blah. All this Bitcoin in the wallet. It's for what? Man.
I mean, it's definitely not perfect. Nobody, I think, can claim that, but that's expression of the best gun at the table. That's Vitchak's expression, and it stuck with me because it's true. Like, what else are you going to defend yourself against in this world? Like you say, pondering goats, where everything else is fucking fiat fuckery. Every other alternative is nonsense and lies. Like, what else are you going to do? Like, you got to go with what the best we've got, and do your best to, I guess, improve it in whatever way you can, whether or not that's like to get the message home to your friends and family that the gun's even there to begin with, or to fucking help make the gun better by building around it and like opting out and using this
Yep.
voluntary fucking alternative that's available to anybody, has been for 17 years, right?
Yeah, it needs to just get, more you know, more populated because there's a very small percentage of people that are actually into Bitcoin, if you think about it, compared to the amount of people that aren't into Bitcoin, and the fact that the governments can control like how all the systems work any way, shape, or possible form that they want to right now by printing up money or just having the resources they need because they have the military power or whatever. Um, this is the tilting point. We have to build that point where like everybody opts out and that tilting point becomes somewhere where it's close to 50-50, where they don't have as much control, where they can be like, well, you opted out of the system, you're running solar on your property, we're going to subpoena you because this is illegal that you do this in your area. We're going to take over your property. We're going to send you to court. But if there's enough people in the neighborhood that are doing the same thing, everybody can do class action lawsuits, whatever, or just fight against government, or just not even respond to it. If you have enough people that don't respond, they can't, arrest all the people, half the people in the neighborhood. That's where it needs to get to. It needs to get to a point where people just don't stand it anymore because they rely on a better system. That's all. It's not going to be easy. Best advice I have for you is just stack more Bitcoin, teach your kids how to fight, teach them jujitsu or something like this, get them up to par, and teach them to have good morals. That's it. That's all we can do.
I'd be wary though of stacking too much. If you lack the conviction, if you don't know why you're stacking, then maybe, you know, maybe you over allocate it. If you're worried when the price goes down, then maybe you just need to do a little bit more due diligence and figure out why this is important, why it hasn't gone away, and why it is the best gun at the table.
Yeah.
Live on the car because I tried live on TikTok.
Or be scared and sell it to us. That's fine too. In fact, like, I know it's almost preferable. Hello. How you doing there, man? How's work going on there? It's what's it, Bob Space? You must be nearing the end or the beginning of the next cohort, I'd imagine. What's the next one's about? You free to come and chat to us? Sweet. I sent you an invite there. I'll be right back. Let me just go hand the coffee out.
What's up,
Can you hear?
Piccolo?
All right, man. You
Yeah,
were
long
asking
long
about
time no talk, buddy.
yeah, no, but I've been around. Just haven't been talking much, you know. But yeah, we just ended the last cohort. Was the fourth one? Fuck, you believe that? Which was what was it? Usability. So we had open pleb, which is Lightning to QR to Lightning payment, and then the other one was silent payments, wallet call Shroud. Both launching probably within like the next few weeks or so. But yeah, I don't know. What's the fifth one about? I wonder. I don't know, because I only planned like four. I didn't even think that we would even get to four. And the fact that we got shit, how many projects? About close to a dozen, something like 11 projects funded by either OpenSats or Human Rights Foundation. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. It's actual work, man. That's the thing. And you guys know how I feel about work, right? I mean, I'm kind
Yeah.
of somewhat allergic to it, so you know, the fourth one might have been, the nadir, I guess, which is the peak, I suppose. We'll see. I don't know, because apparently Bitcoin is dead, so we can all feel great that we were building on
Yeah.
Bitcoin for nothing, but not
So
really.
next time, if you have to do a fifth, just to spread it out, for your speech, just put a lot of ums and ohs in there. Just
Wait, who does that? The ums and ums.
I don't know,
Somebody.
just people that are bad speakers, or just people
Yeah.
want to procrastinate.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we did our best. You gave it your best go, right? Piccolo.
Oh yeah, no, I'm still doing like the boss space and all that, but in terms of renewing each cohort, I don't know. I mean, now the four cohorts, the 11 projects or so, maybe it's time to like just coordinate better amongst them and just get them, to the next level type thing, up level them. Many of them have already gone long-term funding, which is great. So now I'm like, maybe deploying and testing some of them, a lot more seriously and see, see what to build on Bitcoin, I suppose, since that's the name of the
Oh
space.
yeah, bobbing it. He's bobbing it.
Bob and it. Yeah. But yeah, so far so good. Been really cool. And then yeah, that's what I mean. I don't quite know what the next cohort will be about because I just had planned the four cohort and we just completed it. One cycle. I suppose I can think about the next cycle, but I don't know. Somebody else might have to run the programming. We'll see. I don't know. I got volunteers that might want to take it up. It's actual work. That's the thing. You see, that's the thing, guys. Why can't I just sit there and people just do all the work for me and I don't have to do any work? You see how it ain't fair, dude? And you know how like my grandpa used to be, you know, people used to do shit for him. Nobody does shit for me now.
But you mean you don't have Claude bot doing your job for you yet?
Yeah, not quite, man. Haven't sort of plunked down now. Actually, you don't need a Mac Mini. I guess I have like a Raspberry 4 I can bust out, or one of those, you know, old 2019 MacBook Airs I can bust out. Those will work. But yeah, no, I mean, I guess before I would deploy that, I know like you guys have been talking about that and all that. I mean, I guess you would have to like secure it or harden it in some way, right? To prevent things like accidental prompt injections, all that bullshit. Correct? Because, you know, you don't want to go like willy-nilly and say, hey, let's, you know,
Oh,
8-bit,
I,
right? I mean, you could, but no, I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna just like ape in. I guess I'm gonna study it a little bit more first.
yeah, me too. And I think it needs maybe a little more time in the oven if you're not, if you don't know what you're doing. I was thinking about isolating it on a machine at home, but after chatting to Gen X, who knows about this stuff more than I do, and reading like the latest exploits and stuff, and like over 340 of the skills had all kind, were malware basically. Um, yeah, I would definitely use with caution, and if and when I do, it'll be rather with like a VPS, so it's not even on my home network. Um, because I'm not knowledgeable enough to be able to know that I'm securely separating it from my home network. And then even on a VPS, I ain't giving it access to like my email accounts and stuff. I got a message over the weekend, and I'm fairly convinced from the context that this guy's just gone ahead and given Claude bots his like primary machine, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. I mean, Gen X knows. I mean, I've just been like only very recently given in to the fact that yeah, this AI shit is real, right? Because I got into like Shakespeare.ai and you know the aggregators, the proxies, which I thought was cool. And then, you know, a few weeks later, here comes Claude bot, and then now it's Open Claw, and apparently you
Can we
can
do
start
something
like.
like can we do something like battle bots with AI? Like where like we create our own AI that battles the other AIs?
I thought they did that. They had like the AI bots talk to each other, and apparently they're like, yeah, we don't need humans, all that stuff. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. You know, you're not gonna pick up a gun. I'm gonna fucking just smash you. Like right now, I'm just gonna unplug you. Stop talking shit, or else you're gonna get unplugged. No, but it's fun. I mean, I think what we're able to do now with like these open source models and the fact that you can isolate them in your local environment, your local machines, hell yeah, that's kind of what we've been talking about, right? And then now you can have personal assistance. So as long as you know what you're doing with respect to hardening it security wise, yeah, you should be good. I mean, like Gen X would know what it's doing. Like for me, I would, you know, study it a little bit more and not do what I did with the Lightning node initially, which is fucking ape in, dude. You know, not all of us can be like lucky all the time. I've been lucky a few times. I'm not gonna push my luck. Not with fucking AI, I don't think. But you guys can do what you want.
I'm enjoying like tinkering with Claude, like building stuff that I would I would have had to employ a developer to help me before. I'm able to like just basic dashboards and useful stuff that I can build now just through natural language prompting. It's fucking amazing. But I wouldn't give it access to my email addresses and my calendars and all of that stuff quite yet.
Oh yeah, I've been using AI a lot just to like do random comparisons, charts, tables, all that shit. It's great for that, right? Now you don't even have to make your own slice really. You just prompt AI, you know, prompt whatever, anything. Any of these AIs make, you know, tell them to make a nice table and then screenshot and then copy paste, dude. And that's it. You just do that a few times. That's 10 slides right there. You know, because
I'm
now
just
you don't
waiting
really,
for
right?
yeah, I'm just waiting for AI to get so easy that Dr. Detroit starts vibe coding his own like multiple test nets. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, apparently you can't. Well, well, not a lot, but I guess some of these AI bots now have capabilities related to Bitcoin, I suppose. Like with Shakespeare.ai, you can put Claude on there and then you can give it access to like BDK, Bitcoin development kit, Lightning development kit, tell it that, it's a seasoned Bitcoin dev, all that shit, and it'll build you something. I mean, if you're like somebody who knows what they're doing, it's super useful. But for us who fuck around, it's nice, I guess. I wouldn't want to build anything on mainnet on it. And if I did, I wouldn't want anybody else to use it. So yeah, but it's fun. The fact that I can actually like right now in 30 minutes build like a Lightning wallet or an eCash wallet, by vibe coding. Again, never mind the security, the back end, all that shit. But the fact that you can do what are these things called? The proof of concept. Yeah, it's so easy for like product managers and like anybody, well, salespeople to do proof of concept stuff now, without going to the tech team, right? But then when you want to deploy, the tech team might say, "Yeah, no, you fucked up, dude. You shouldn't have done that." That wasn't. Yeah, you can vibe code that shit, but that shit was stupid. But then you find out later. But the fact that you can, it's quite something, quite cool, I guess. But yeah, the next thing, I guess, I mean, I didn't see that this would be like a 2026 topic for Bitcoin. It's like, yeah, Bitcoin and AI, people building Bitcoin apps using AI, and it's already been happening, but it's going to accelerate even more this year and going forward. So that's something I didn't see kind of coming. And I don't know whether that will make it better or worse. I don't think the protocol devs will use the vibe coding and all that shit, but definitely the apps and the front end people. Yeah, plenty of opportunities, right? Some people might even start building, Bitcoin-based businesses using AI. Yeah, but we'll see. That's kind of what I find interesting. Didn't really expect that. I thought we'll be like, yeah, whatever, after core versus Knox, core versus Knots, and then you go into quantum, you get the BIP, whatever, 110, all that shit, right? And then soft forks, CTV, covenants, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of where I thought we'll be kind of into. But yeah, AI is something which is becoming more useful and I think more relevant. And yeah, Portland talked about it too. So didn't quite see that coming. I thought it would be like 2027, 2028, but probably, I don't know, a year ahead of schedule, perhaps. So that's why, like, when people talk about quantum and that shit, I take it a little bit more seriously now, right? Because AI kind of caught me off guard, man. So I don't know. We'll see about quantum.
I mean, it was kind of always there. It's just, I mean, it's automation, you know?
Yeah, more than automation, though, I think now, where, if it's just automation, yeah, fine. But when you're actually asking it to interact with other bots, because now if you don't, you might have to be the one interacting. That's actually saving some time, right? All these little interactions that you would otherwise have to spend time on, now you don't. So, and it's learning, I suppose. And then maybe just flagging stuff for you. And then I guess one thing is kind of interesting, like Gen X, you talked about this, but as you're like doing this thing with AI prompting and all that stuff, if you kind of, you ask it to kind of explain its thought process, that's where you learn a lot too, right? Even if you don't code, it's like saying, okay, I looked at this library, I looked at that, I looked at that, and then you're like, oh shit, okay, what is that? Well, what is that? Oh shit, what the fuck is that? You know, so those in itself kind of opens up these other rabbit holes, and then eventually you kind of start knowing a little bit more about what you're doing and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, it's kind of getting to that inflection point, I guess is my point.
Dude, I find it such a more engaging way to learn about this stuff is just to build stuff directly with it. I've tried in the past to learn how to code, and I just like you know, hit a brick wall with textbooks and online classes and that kind of thing. Whereas if I'm able to just like solve problems while I'm building and concentrate on the process and what it is that's Claude or whatever tool it is I'm working with is doing, um, I'm astounded like how much I've learned in the last 2 months just doing this like part time. Like I'm able to you know like understand words I wouldn't have been able to you know begin to define 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's kind of like learning Bitcoin, right? You know, it's a lot of times it's just learning by doing. You know, and the fact that now you can, yeah, is something quite, I think, unique, I guess. Well, at least for people that lived through the you know, mobile phone, the pre-computer, the pre-internet era. I mean, that's, dude, imagine, right? We're here, fucking here. Think about it, in 2026. Holy shit. Yeah, we don't have like robot mates and all that shit. I guess you could, but you know, we don't have flying cars yet and all that. But you know, I guess on the software side, you got something cool to play with.
We do. It's just not everybody's using it.
This is where we can start vibe coding and 3D print our own flying cars now, right? This is it. Boom.
Yeah.
Jetson time.
I mean, everybody's always like talking about 3D printed guns, but I'm like 3D printed bazookas. You know, come on now. We want something bigger, a little bit more punch.
Yeah, but I don't know. If you're like somebody who likes find firearms, you know, the 3D printed ones don't quite do it. There's something to be said about an all metal frame, whatever, right? Revolver, or even an all metal frame semi-automatic.
It's not
I'm
true.
not a big fan of those.
It's not true. There's some good ones now that are like smaller arms.
Oh, sure.
But I think when it comes to like,
Glock are great.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong. Love Glocks and all the fucking Glock clones out there. Fine.
yeah, they're really good.
PCC, fine. But I don't know. You know, you ever shot like a CZ, the Czechoslovakian gun from the Czech Republic?
No, I haven't
those
shot
are
one
great.
of those.
The CZ, oh my God, man. I mean, any of the CZ 75, the Shadow one, the Shadow 2, or if you're even the 1911s, you know, the Colt 45, the 1911 models, you know, those are nice. Yeah. The thing is, you can shoot Glocks and then you go shoot one of those and you're like, yeah, fuck the Glock. If you're a shooter, I guess. You know, if you have to carry the thing all day, yes, get a Glock. But if you're not going to be strapping all day, you know, and it's for self-defense and it's for keepsake and it's nice, and it doesn't look like a toy, yeah, dude. All metal is the way to go. For me anyway.
Yeah, everything has its
Others
use. Exactly. You just gotta determine like what's the best for your situation. Yep.
Yeah, if I had
How
to
about
pick one, I would just pick the revolver. I would throw everything away and just either a revolver and a shotgun. That's it. A revolver and a nice pump action shotgun. If I had to pick like just two. All right, I'm out. But let's
Yep.
see. I don't know.
Take care, man.
I might do something different this year, guys. I might not do like you might change up the cohorts. Do something slightly different. Maybe get some people to donate to Bob bounties. You know,
Yeah.
somebody wants something to do. Yeah, get a bounty going. Somebody will do it for you. Something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Peace.
Thanks for
Later,
popping
man.
up, man. Gonna keep on, man.
Peace.
Keep up the good work.